Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man. Got another great video for you guys today, as usual, man. You guys know the deal in this channel. It's all about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, guys. And in this video, we're going to talk about an article I saw, some comments that Gary Payton made in this article I saw, talking about, you know, if Scottie Pippen was on Seattle, they never traded him off Seattle. He's talking about Michael Jordan would have had problems if they had Scottie Pippen in Seattle. Because if you guys, don't remember, the Chicago Bulls made a draft day trade for Scottie Pippen. I believe they traded Olden Polynice to the Seattle Supersonics for the draft rights of Scottie Pippen, right, on the draft day trade, all right? So they're talking hypotheticals here in this interview. They asked Gary Payton about what if Scottie Pippen, never got traded, during the draft day, if he would have stayed in Seattle. And Gary Payton jumps out the window, once again throwing shade at Michael Jordan for no reason, and just trying to rewrite history and not give Michael Jordan the credit and the respect that he deserved and earned as far as Scottie Pippen's development. We're going to talk about it in this video, man, because Gary Payton is acting as if Scottie Pippen would have just came into Seattle and they would have had a big three just because Scottie Pippen. It doesn't make any sense. Once again, they don't give Michael Jordan any credit. We're going to talk about in this video, guys. And I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states has been supporting my channel. Once again, guys, I am truly, truly humbled, man. I'm going to send a special thanks out to Trey04 Will. Shout out to Trey04 Will for coming through with the super thanks. Thank you very much for your continued support, man. Trey04 Will. And I want to send a special thanks out to Gundam U once again for coming through with the super thanks. Thank you very much to Gundam U for coming through. Thank you very much to all you guys out there that continue to support my channel, man. It really means a lot. Shout out to everybody in the membership, man. Thank you very much, guys. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, man, like I said, man, shout out to all you guys once again, man, for continuing to come through and support my channel. Thank you to all you guys who participate in the polls. I like to have some fun with these polls and, ask, funny, silly things sometimes in these polls. And thank you very much to all you guys that, said that respond and, to these polls and stuff, man, and interact with me on these polls and stuff. Thanks, guys. It means a lot, man. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, I saw this article. Once again, man, floating around the internet. I'm telling you, the internet is a dangerous place to float around, man, or to search, because you never know what's going to pop up, man. Some nonsense all the time. And I came across this article, excuse me, guys, from a couple of days ago. And it was about Gary Payton, and I believe he was being interviewed. And they were asking him, they asked him this question. So this is not like Gary Payton, just brought this up, but they asked him about Scottie Pippen. And what if he would have stayed on the Seattle Supersonics? Because, like I said, just a reminder, Scottie Pippen was traded from Seattle. Remember, they drafted Scottie Pippen, and the Bulls and the Seattle Supersonics did a draft day trade. And if I remember correctly, it was Olden Polynice, who was like a 6'11" power forward / center. They traded him for Scottie Pippen on the draft day. Now, the problem I have with Gary Payton's comments in this article is because, once again, he's trying to shortchange Michael Jordan and the impact that Michael Jordan had on Scottie Pippen's development and his overall career, who he ultimately became as a player, Scottie Pippen. Michael Jordan had a profound impact on that. I told you guys stories about how the Bulls coaches used to talk about how Michael Jordan, it was Michael Jordan, who saw something in Scottie Pippen that Scottie Pippen did not see in himself, that the Chicago Bulls coaches did not see in Scottie Pippen. It was something that Michael Jordan saw inside of him. That's why Michael Jordan pushed him the way that he did, to get that out of him, to extract that potential from Scottie Pippen. Michael Jordan's leadership, his competitive fire, right? The way that he led his teams, that rubbed off on Scottie Pippen, but Gary Payton won't mention that in his article once. Gary Payton's talking as if Scottie Pippen came into the NBA as a 3-time All-American, player of the year in college, right? All these things, all these accolades, man. He was like the #1 college guy coming out. None of this is true, guys. He went to a small school, and it's not to say that Scottie Pippen wasn't a good college basketball player. What I'm saying is he was not hyped up like some of the other great players. Remember, I told you guys, David Robinson came out in the same draft class as Scottie Pippen, guys. David Robinson, he was the highly touted player coming out of the draft that year. The thing about it was that David Robinson was not eligible to play in the NBA until he did his 2-year commitment in the United States Naval Academy, or the United States Navy. So David Robinson's technical first year wasn't until 1990, but he was drafted in 1988. Remember, I told you guys, Mark Jackson won Rookie of the Year in 1988, guys. Mark Jackson, if I remember correctly, I think Reggie Miller came in that same draft class, if I remember correctly. But Mark Jackson was a Rookie of the Year that year for the New York Knicks. The last New York Knicks Rookie of the Year, guys, is Mark Jackson in 1988. That's insane. But it wasn't Scottie Pippen who won Rookie of the Year. It was Mark Jackson, guys, not David Robinson. Not Hakeem Olajuwon or a Charles Barkley or a Michael Jordan type of player. Mark Jackson won the Rookie of the Year. And there's no disrespect to Mark Jackson, but Mark Jackson's not a Hall of Famer. Mark Jackson's one of the great all-time great passers. I've told you guys, to me, Mark Jackson's arguably a top 5 passer in the history of the game. The passes I saw Mark Jackson do, second to none. Outstanding passer, a ball handler, a post up for a point guard. Outstanding, but not a Hall of Fame player. Not on that level of those guys. But he won the Rookie of the Year for that draft class. Not Scottie Pippen, but the way that Gary Payton's talking in this article, as if, we would have had Scottie Pippen in 1988, then you get Sean Kemp in 1990, and then I come in 1991, and all of a sudden we have a big 3. Dude, Scottie Pippen was not that dude when he came in. He had to develop into that person. And Michael Jordan had a great role in that development. Did he not? I also told you guys about how Cliff Livingston came into the Bulls in 1989. They brought Cliff Livingston in the next year to harden up Scottie Pippen because they realized Scottie Pippen was soft. Right? Remember, in 1988, guys, the Bulls played the Pistons in the second round. Where was Scottie Pippen? He was nowhere to be found. Right? Where was Scottie Pippen in 1989 against the Detroit Pistons? He was nowhere to be found. Right? He took an elbow in the head in Game 6 and played 2 minutes. That was it for the whole game. He was done for the game. Right? And then in 1990, the migraine game. So Scottie Pippen had a reputation of weak, soft, frail, mentally, physically. He needed the big brother of a Michael Jordan. Gary Payton wouldn't have been a big brother, Scottie Pippen. He came after Scottie Pippen. Sean Kemp wouldn't have been a big brother, Scottie Pippen. He came from high school after Scottie Pippen. Michael Jordan was there years before Pippen came in. He was an established superstar in the NBA before Scottie Pippen even came there. That would not have been Gary Payton. Gary Payton didn't make an all-star team to his 3rd season in the league, 1994, guys. But Gary Payton's talking about, we would have had a big 3. Dude, you weren't even an all-star your first year. I think Gary Payton, his first year, averaged what? 6 points per game? 9 points per game? What are we talking about? Stop it right now. You're delusional. Sean Kemp didn't hit his stride to what, his 30 in the league? Stop, man. Gary Payton's talking in this article like Sean Kemp came into the NBA as a superstar level talent, scoring all these points, getting all these rebounds, doing all this stuff. He started talking about himself, a big 3, as if he came in the NBA as a made product, ready to go. Dude, you didn't make an all-star team to your 3rd season. And this isn't any knock on these guys. We're putting perspective and context here. Stop trying to rewrite history, man. You sound ridiculous. Now, let me read off word for word what he said. In this article, guys, he says this. We would have won a couple of championships, I think, because Scottie would have turned it around for us a little bit. So he's saying that Scottie Pippen would have led them. He would have been the guy that turned it around because he would have got drafted there in 88. Like I said, then you have Sean Kemp came in 1990, and then Gary Payton got drafted in 1991. First off, let's understand something. If Scottie Pippen stayed on the Seattle Supersonics, right, and you had a good team there, you had guys like Tom Chambers there, Dale Ellis. These were the main scorers, the main players before you had Sean Kemp, Gary Payton. You had Tom Chambers on that team, 88, 89. You had, like I said, Dale Ellis, who was a knockdown lethal shooter from the outside. You had guys like a young Derek McKee. Xavier McDaniel was on this team. Sedell Threat was on this team. You had some guys on this team, right? Some quality players. And then you would get a Gary Payton, a Sean Kemp, right? You start to, they had Nate McMillan on that team. So the Seattle Supersonics had a squad. But to make it seem as if Scottie Pippen coming there in 88 would have instantly turned them into a defensive juggernaut or would have improved them immensely is insane for him to take that stretch or to make that assumption. And once again, what is he doing here? He's not giving credit to Michael Jordan and what Michael Jordan did for the development of Scottie Pippen. I don't understand why people cannot give Michael Jordan the credit for Scottie Pippen's development. Once again, wasn't it Scottie Pippen? If we remember correctly, guys, remember this is out of Scottie Pippen's own mouth. He told us, right, that he did not take the NBA serious those first couple of years. That's Scottie Pippen's words, not mine. He literally said, I didn't take it serious those first couple of years. So what he did there was admit that he sabotaged Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls in 1989, in 1988, and in 1989 because he didn't take it serious. Those are Scottie Pippen's words, guys. He quoted that in his book. He didn't take it serious those first couple of years. He was lollygagging and BSing, right? That's what he said. So Michael Jordan was sabotaged by Scottie Pippen those first couple of years because Scottie Pippen wasn't giving the max effort. He wasn't giving 100% focus to basketball. He wasn't there. So Michael Jordan had to wait for Scottie Pippen, right? 88, 89, 90. He had to wait for Scottie Pippen to develop. He had to wait for him to become a teammate that could actually help him go against the great teams like the Detroit Pistons in the Eastern Conference. So it took years of development, but it took years of Michael Jordan's big brother mentality, the tutelage of Michael Jordan, his work ethic, his leadership. That wasn't Gary Payton. That wasn't Shawn Kemp. When have they ever been known of having the quality of leadership of a Michael Jordan? They're not on that level, man. Shawn Kemp was never a leader like that. Gary Payton tried to be a leader, but he wasn't on Michael Jordan. There's levels to this, man. I remember hearing a story of Gary Payton getting choked out in the locker room by Xavier McDaniel as a rookie. He was choked out by Xavier McDaniel. Really? These are things that we're talking about. So Gary Payton really believes if Scottie Pippen was on the South Supersonics from 1988, that you bring him 1990, you bring in Shawn Kemp, then in 1990 you bring Gary Payton, and all of a sudden they got a big three, and then he's talking about they're going to be formidable, they're going to win several championships, Scottie Pippen's going to do this for them. So really, Scottie Pippen's going to develop himself, even though he says those first couple of years he didn't take serious. So he's going to develop himself without having a Michael Jordan type player that'll push him. Who's going to push him when he got there in 88? Gary Payton wasn't there. Shawn Kemp wasn't there. Like I said, how was a high schooler going to push Scottie Pippen and make him better and be the big brother to him and be an enforcer? Those guys wouldn't have the cachet. Who's going to be the leader? Who's going to push Scottie Pippen? Dale Ellis? Tom Chambers? They're going to push Scottie Pippen that way? No, they're not. Remember, it was Scottie Pippen in his Hall of Fame speech that thanked Michael Jordan, right? Because he understood what Michael Jordan meant to his overall legacy in his career. So let's read another quote from Gary Payton in this article because he continues. He says, Michael Jordan would have had problems. You know what I'm saying. Shawn would have come in 89. I would have come in 90. That would have been a great crew. I think Scottie would have put up another dynamic team together with us. So once again, Gary Payton is making it seem as if Scottie Pippen would have came in 88 and been ready to go. He was a ready-to-go player. He was an all-star caliber player already in 1988. That's so far from the truth. Gary Payton himself wasn't an all-star caliber player when he first came into the league. Shawn Kemp wasn't an all-star caliber player when he first came into the league. These guys took several years. All three of them took years to develop into all-star caliber players, into Hall of Fame worthy players. Years of development it took. So I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Once again, if you're going to sit here and say we would have won multiple championships, we would have been a big three, and then you're talking about, oh, Michael Jordan would have had problems. How Michael Jordan would have had problems? No, you guys would have had problems because you would have had problems trying to develop each other. All of you guys would have been trying to develop each other. You guys would have had to wait years for each other to develop. And who's to say Scottie Pippen ever develops into that guy without Michael Jordan? That's the whole point here. You cannot ever once say, oh, Scottie Pippen would have been great on this team with these guys. He would have brought this dynamic. You're talking about Scottie Pippen, the finished product. You're talking about Scottie Pippen, the Hall of Famer that he became, not who he came into the NBA as. Michael Jordan came into the NBA as an MVP caliber player, all NBA second team, all-star, leading the league in total points, led his team in every major statistic while playing all 82 games and being the face of the league from the minute he walked on the court. Endorsements, carrying Nike's brand on his back from day one. That's who Michael Jordan was without Scottie Pippen anywhere in sight, without Phil Jackson anywhere in sight. That's what Michael Jordan did. His first year. You had guys like Bobby Knight saying to draft this dude and play him at center. The best basketball player I've ever seen. Before he even played a game, there was no one saying that about Scottie Pippen. I mean, my goodness. Michael Jordan was on the 84 Olympic team doing work. Was Scottie Pippen out there doing work? No. So once again, Gary Payton is lost here. Remember Gary Payton, some months back, he said that LeBron James is a better ball handler, dribbler than Michael Jordan. He really went there with it. Gary Payton is lost here. Once again, another guy who played in the NBA, but doesn't seem to understand the NBA's history. I don't get it. And why are you trying to throw shade at Michael Jordan? Oh, Michael Jordan would have had problems. No, he wouldn't have had problems because we know that Michael Jordan did not need Scottie Pippen. He needed help. He needed help. Remember, they were going to trade Shawn Kemp for Scottie Pippen some years later, and Michael Jordan said no. And remember, it was the dynamic between Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen that to me is unique to them. What they were able to do. Let's also not forget that Scottie Pippen was able to do what he did in the triangle offense. Gary Payton won't mention the triangle one time in this article. Like, why are you guys not honest? You can have a hypothetical scenario. And you can say, oh, if we would have had this guy and, if this guy would, you can do all of those all you want. But you must remain consistent with the facts. And the facts remain. Scottie Pippen developed into this player because of the tutors of a Michael Jordan, the big brother mentality, the leadership, the work ethic, the competitive fire. Phil Jackson bringing in the triangle, allowing Scottie Pippen to have a role. Michael Jordan as the leader of the team, allowing Phil Jackson to bring the system in, giving Scottie Pippen that confidence, allowing him to have that role. Who's doing that on Seattle? And like I said, how are they, Gary Payton and Shawn Kemp, going to be Michael Jordan as a big brother type person when you come after Scottie Pippen? Right? That's what Michael Jordan said. I felt a certain sense of, of leadership and a big brother mentality because I was here before these guys. I was going through the battles before them. So he felt a certain way about that. Gary Payton couldn't say that. Shawn Kemp wouldn't have been able to say that. So it would have been up to guys like Dale Ellis or Nate McMillan to bring Scottie Pippen under their wing and show him and develop him. It's not happening, guys. And remember, Scottie Pippen himself said, I didn't take these things serious. I didn't take it serious my first couple of years. So he admitted to sabotaging Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls those first 2 years in the league. But in this article, they're talking about what Scottie Pippen did for the Bulls in 1988. And they really tried to say, once again, it's Basketball Network. I told you, Basketball Network's a crap website. They have no integrity, man, and they don't know the issue of the game. They really tried to say, oh, look at the Bulls. They finally made to the second round in 88 when Scottie Pippen was there. They really said that in the article. They tried to make it seem like the Bulls finally made it past the first round in 88 because Scottie Pippen was there. The guy who was averaging single digits. He was averaging Draymond Green numbers in the playoffs, but they're saying that Scottie Pippen, as soon as they got Scottie Pippen, they went to the second round. It wasn't because Michael Jordan averaged like 45 points against the Cleveland Cavaliers in 1988. No, that wasn't why. It was because Scottie Pippen. It wasn't because Horace Grant helped out a little bit. You ever notice that they always try to pump Scottie Pippen up, but they'll never bring up Horace Grant, who came in the same year as Scottie Pippen. Gary Payton won't mention Horace Grant once, and how he contributed to the Chicago Bulls' success also during that time. Won't mention that. So once again, Gary Payton trying to take away from Michael Jordan's resume and greatness what he did for Scottie Pippen, the fact that Scottie Pippen asked him to induct him into the Hall of Fame. He won't give Michael Jordan any of this kind of credit. Nope. He's just going to say, if we had Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan would have problems, man. We're going to have a big three. We're going to win multiple championships. Insane, man. Insane. Michael Jordan would have gotten somebody to help him. And like I said, he would have developed somebody. It wouldn't matter who it was. That's Michael Jordan. That's what he did. Maximizing the players around him. That's the facts. And Gary Payton won't give Michael Jordan credit for doing this. Just another weird statement from Gary Payton. These guys, I just don't get it, man. Like I said, you don't have to kiss Michael Jordan's ass. You don't got to say, hey, Michael Jordan's the greatest. Can't no one touch him. You don't got to talk like that. You can respect Michael Jordan. And you can also have respect for yourself and your own competitiveness. Because I get it, these guys are competitors. So they never want to give someone else a bunch of credit. You know, that's why Michael Jordan laughed when he saw that Gary Payton said that, oh, I gave Michael Jordan a hard time. He's like, And he said Michael Jordan's supposed to say that. He's a competitor. But Michael Jordan was being honest because that's the way that he always has been. Gary Payton is not being honest when he says, oh, LeBron James is a better dribbler than Michael Jordan. Like, what are you looking at? You just come across as a hater. And like I said, you just come across as really corny, man, and not keeping the facts and not keeping your integrity. And now you're going to talk in this article like Scottie Pippen came into the NBA ready to go, as if Michael Jordan had no impact on this dude's legacy or career, as if Scottie Pippen was all of a sudden an all-world defender and one of the, great all-around players just because he was. It's not the case. You guys know the deal, man. These are the facts, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.